lecture, and I do still some research over there. This is my office here in the Netherlands. So in any case, if you feel comfortable or free, are all free to send me an email, to visit us, to see how do we treat patients, how do we manage the laser in endodontics. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation, because actually all of you, like me, we are in quarantine. So quarantine is, I think, a worldwide new experience, which of course give us new challenges. I was just talking to Hugo and how he was explaining me how difficult it is to keep the kids at home all days long and during days and weeks. So I know that this can be really hard, but at the same time, yeah, I suffer on the other way. I don't see my family. I'm far away from my family and also from my friends. We tend to compensate somehow with video calls and so on. But actually nowadays we realize what is really the most, what are really the most important things. And usually during our routines, we are so concerned about work and about economics and about everything. Sometimes we try or we tend to neglect the real most important things, which are sometimes just around of us. And then as a challenge, and also give us sometimes new and unexpected opportunities. If for you, I will try to teach or to show you something new, to raise some curiosity within all of you. For me, it's also an opportunity to try for the first time these kind of webinars. So for everybody, and also for Hugo as an organizer, we were just talking also about that. We are all in the same boat. So expected opportunities are rising, and we need to adapt and to follow through. So as I told in the beginning, I will not answer to this question. So lasers are quite complex. The physics of lasers, the way they are built, the way the light is generated is very complex indeed. Fortunately, I have the luck of travel all over the world in order to explain and to give lectures and the courses and post-graduations regarding how everything works, like the pure how. But this time I tried not to go into this. This is another kind of lecture, and it requires way much more time than this. So I'm not going to talk about how do they work. I know that people will probably try to make some questions about the mechanisms, but that's not the goal of the lecture today. The goal of the lecture today is what can we do, and not how we do what we do. So my apologies. This is out of the content. I'm going also, and this is very hard for me because usually I build up my presentations with the limitations of current irrigation strategies. Actually, for you to understand my point of view and why I am so fanatic about lasers. Well, fanatic maybe not the best word, but I'm really enthusiastic about lasers. But this time I'm going also to neglect all these kind of limitations of irrigation strategies, the ones which are doing endodontics every day, and the ones which goes through the scientific literature. They know about several limitations about irrigation strategies. I'm not going through there. I'm also not going to explain the biophysical properties and the techniques itself. The ones I will give you my contact, the ones who want to contact me and ask more detailed questions about the procedures, the parameters, the technique, how long, what's the power, etc., etc. That I will be most glad to answer all the questions, but it's not the goal for today. I'm also not going, obviously, talk about the comparison between strategies and providing the scientific literature to support the use of lasers in endodontics. This is something which is quite extensive. There are a huge amount of research regarding lasers in endodontics. Some of them very good, some of them not so good. But nevertheless, most of the scientific reports, they all compare lasers to current strategies. And usually I build up also my presentations on this specific topic. Today, I'm also not going to talk about scientific comparisons between techniques and strategies. So I'm going to focus on what can we do and not how do we do. I think it's clear, because for that, we need something called education. It's not just a webinar, it's just not a congress speech or a lecture in the Congress. You need proper education. We don't get this kind of education in universities, unfortunately, during our pre-graduate programs. So actually, this is a technology which is very and not very well known for the big majority of dentists. But actually, this is the biggest weapon if you want to try and to implement a laser in your practice. Why is that? Because, of course, that lasers nowadays tend to be much more intuitive and user-friendly. The softwares are developed in order to push the button and do the procedure. Actually, in endodontics, it's quite easy to manipulate a laser because it's just more or less one kind of parameters and then we don't need to change much the operational mode of the laser itself. So it's quite easy, but and all the other applications of lasers in dentistry, they need education. We need to learn how to drive the machine and not the machine letting drive us. Why is that? Because if you let the machine drive you, you will never get the results you are expecting. You will never see the outcomes that everybody is promising, that the salesmen are promising. So actually, you need to go for any kind of education and postgraduate course to understand the mechanisms behind what you are doing, okay? This is a completely new technology, and education is a must. Regarding education, and this is the only kind of, let me say, publicity I'm doing, but it's not publicity, it's something that you can do all over the world by many companies or universities that are providing lectures about these topics, about laser in the industry. But ALZ and Aachen Dental Laser Center in Aachen, in Germany, is arguably one of the best institutes of research and education. We provide education for many, many years. And you can see here, you can have only mastership content, which is like 1 year modular program, which is focused mostly for clinicians. So to learn how to operate a laser in a dental practice, simply as that. To go to the clinic and know how to do things and how to manipulate your laser in order to achieve the results you want, and to go with speed and to go with the properties that you are expecting from them. But you can also become a little bit more academic and do the Master of Science in Laser Dentistry. That's what I've done in 2008. And that's 2 years curriculum program with a master thesis, of course, and research and so on and so on. So this is Aachen, this is the hospital, which seems like more like kind of an oil plant, but it's actually a very, very big hospital, and the ALZ is just around the corner, so we tend to lecture in combination. I know that many of our former mastership and Master of Science students, and here in the picture, I know that some of you guys are listening to me, so hello, welcome. And it's going to be a pleasure to lecture for you as well. And of course, I cannot speak about lasers without recognize the one who definitely made me a laser addict, a laser expert, or whatever you can call it. But Professor Gutknecht is actually a leader, and despite of his all recognition in terms of scientific recognition and the amount of published papers he has done throughout more than 20 years already, actually he inspires, he enlightens you, and if you see a lecture from him, you don't need even a PowerPoint presentation. You just look to Professor Gutknecht, and you see by the look of his eyes how thrilled he is about his world, and this is definitely someone that you need to meet if you have the opportunity to listen him about the use of lasers in dentistry. And then, of course, you have someone who traumatized you. I think he's also assisting my lectures, and almost of our students and former students know this guy over there, and he's our physician. He's the who actually wrote a book, and that's the only thing which one of the things which I really want to advise you to buy if you want to know a little bit more about this field of lasers in dentistry, which he teaches mostly for dentists. So for many years, he tried to adapt his language, his way of thinking, because he's a pure physician, so he's no doctor or dentist, but he tried throughout the years to explain and to make it comprehensible for dentists in a nice and productive way. This is René Franzen, and he lectures with us, and is usually in charge of all the physics modules, either in masterships or in Master of Sciences. So we need to learn a lot about, and this is our students for the mastership here in the Netherlands. You can see some pictures over there, and I know that, for example, Marina is watching us. So basically, you need to learn how things are working, but this is not today. This you can do in another completely different way. And you see, these are the classes we give in vitro. We teach how to manipulate all the parameters, and what is the wavelength, what is the pulse the power per pulse, the pulse length, what can change with all of these, all the interactions. And then we have also usually a lot of clinical training. The victim here, it was me. They were doing laser bleaching on myself. This is still not operating a laser. This is Dimitri Strakas, my very good friend. He's also watching us. A brilliant lecturer in laser dentistry as well. And yeah, we try to give our best in order to provide the best knowledge as possible to as many dentists as possible. But to believe what you see, you must open your mind. So that's what I propose to you guys all over the world, is that open your mind, leave all other things behind, and just enjoy the lecture and just enjoy the clinical cases. I tried to select some clinical cases. I think there are a lot. I think maybe I will not be able to show all of them. It depends on the time, but nevertheless, I want you to open your mind and to think outside of the box, because laser treatment concepts are really outside of the box of a normal dentist way of thinking, way of operating, and the outcomes and the properties of lasers in dentistry, it's really something completely far away from our current strategies. So this is something that I would like just to focus a couple of minutes on this issue, is that what is the gold standard in endodontics? What do we do? Because what we do is to try to do the best for our patients. We all want success. Nobody wants to fail, regardless of our experience, if you like it or not, endodontics or not. And the problem in endodontics is that everyone does